It is 5:30. So right before I call the meeting to order, there's just one other thing I'd like to do, and that is with wish Kathleen happy birthday. Let's all sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kathleen. Happy birthday to you. And many more. All right.
29 today.
Yes. 29 again. And you can delete that. Yeah, you can delete that. All right. Call to order. So I'm calling the meeting to order. And just for the record, I'm Lisa Whalen. I'm the mayor. Council members present this evening are Kathleen Refkin, Ann McGregor, Peter Vickery, Claudia Lacey is absent. And then we have Director of Public Works, Gary Peters, Director of Administration, Ali Pulfus, and our City Clerk, and Meyerhoff. Did I get that right? Okay. And Ann, I can remember. See, that's a really easy one. And then Jasper Krugel, our city administrator, Brian Grimm, finance director, and David Abel, community director, development director. So with that, I'm going to open our work session meeting for November 13th for Minnetrista, and we have 3 items. We're going to discuss park dedication and tree replacement budget. We're going to discuss the rain barrel discussion and request from the Harrison Bay Association, and then the city meeting calendar. With that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Yes,
okay?
I'll start with the park dedication fund budget. I'm sort of more of a conduit for this one for I guess everyone else listed on the memo on page 2, David and Nick and the Parks Commission. So, but no, I think it's a good budget that they put together, a good plan that they have as far as items, to look at for 2024 the Park Dedication Fund. As noted in the memo there, the Parks Commission reviewed it at the September 12th meeting, and we're 4-0 to recommend it as presented, approval, or to forward on to council, I guess, basically. They don't have any spending authority, or whether they want to or not. But as you can see on page 3 of the packet, you can see the sort of the historical where the fund and cash balance has been in the park dedication fund. You can see it's sort of been in that $800,000 to $1.2 million range going back to 2014. We sort of get some park dedication fees in, and then we spend some down, or use them or utilize them, I guess I should say, on some of those things that are outlined in the park plan on the next subsequent pages. For 2024, I guess maybe I'll just note quickly, for 2023, the main project is the Jean Lanier, that project, and we've still got some expenditures, and I know Gary's, they're working with the contractor there. They're still making progress, but once that's all said and done, that'll probably be in that $350,000 to $400,000 range as far as that. And then for 2024, it's more not the scope of the projects to be budgeted for are recommended aren't as large. They're more some trail mill and overlay in Linden and Lyle Park. So maybe I'll just open it up for any questions. You can see the cash balance is projected to be about $750,000 at the end of this year. After next year's projects, it'd be about $650,000, and then as you get more into the out years, you can see if we do some of those larger projects, the fund balance without additional park dedication revenue starts to go down significantly. So,
I had a few questions. Why did you put $50,000 as kind of a marker for out years?
I mean, I think until we really have any development slated on the horizon or on the near-term horizon, it's really hard to know. Sometimes we'll get like an occasional, small, park dedication amount when someone creates maybe a new lot or two or something like that. But really, until we get like a larger one, like you can see some years we've had, $118,000 back in 2017. 2014 was a big year, $381,000. 2021, $295,000. But some of those have been with the Woodland Cove additions, right? So it's obviously
something
those.
big,
we don't have that where we knew that was coming and that we could count on. And so until we get like something maybe down in the southern end of the city, or like the Hunter's Crest, Hunter's Pass area, or something like that, where we get a larger dollar amount. We really can't probably count on anything much. I mean, 50,000 could even be a little much,
Yeah,
or
I was going
something.
to say that could even be much.
Yeah.
The only thing I can add to this that has kind of come up here just more recently before these documents were even prepared is they have started, M&I has started working on the plans for the last phase, the 11th phase of Woodland Cove. They just started though, so it's going to take them some time. They just started with their engineers putting the plan together. So potentially you could see that last phase come in next year, and that would change it from 50 up a bit. You'd be probably more, and you can look back on previous years, maybe closer to that 250, 290, in that $200,000 range. But again, we have no idea how long it's going to take them to get that plan put together and get it in for submittal and approval and all of that. But that's the one thing we do know, that they are starting those discussions on that last phase. And otherwise, to Brian's point, we just have no idea when these other properties are going to come in and develop, because that's our one and only generator of the cash for this fund.
That makes sense. And then, I don't know, Gary, maybe it's more a question for you, but why are the projects spread over the next few years rather than just spend the money we have now and get them going?
What's that?
Oh, why are these projects spread over the next few years rather than, say, just going ahead with them since we have the cash to do it?
It kind of did that just for more, to kind of keep stuff and keep money in that account and keep going. I mean, we can put it all in 1 year, but it's always been our thing is do certain areas at a certain time, and don't have a problem with it. If you'd like to see that, we could do that too. I mean, the money's there if you want to spend it. It's not a big deal. So, but we just kind of spread it out. I just kind of looked at it, and when I set it up to kind of do the CIP, it's kind of sort of like our equipment and stuff. Well, so much this year, so much this year, so much that year. So we're not, having a great big expenditure at one time.
Well, some of it, Gary, might be too that instead of managing 3 park projects in a year, you have 1 in a year. Because obviously you get involved with that and others as far as depending on the scope of the project and what all needs to be done as far as.
Yeah, the bigger park projects are more of a challenge. But stuff's coming up. Like the striping and resurfacing and trails. It's not as complicated, but it does entail getting a lot more inspection work done at one time. So.
But that is something that the Park Commission did discuss, whether we want to do something sooner than later. And then my question would be, if we're going to be doing a rather larger park project at a Lyle Park, wouldn't we want to do that before we resurface the trail?
That was my question. Why wouldn't we do that all at the same time for the same park?
Yeah, because it seems to me like it would be better, because if there's damage to the trail, with equipment and stuff, that maybe we want to do that do the improvement first and then do the trail.
Where the improvement would go, I don't think you'd have it, because the trail, you're not going to be disrupting the trail all the way around the park itself. The certain they'd come off the main parking lot and go over that section of trail, which is concrete there where the handicap parking entrance is. Where it's ramped and then into that area. So.
But wouldn't there? I don't know. We'd have to look at the plan again. But maybe there would be additional sidewalks or something going to the new playground area.
And that's easy enough to put in afterwards. This is just the trail around the whole perimeter of the park itself. Right. So I don't see it being an issue, with that. So if that's something you really want to do, then we need to look at, what you want out there for amenities and what we're going to do out there. So.
Gary, I know the other thing we talked about at the Park Commission is if we had this on, let's say 2024, and we start planning for it, we could apply for grants. That was the thing too, through Hennepin County. And then if we don't get the grant, then we can put it to 2025 and apply for the grant again. And then if we don't get it in 25, we could apply for it again. Because I know with the tennis courts, we applied, 2 times or 3 times? 3 times. So maybe we want to put it in 24, get a plan in place that we're going to go with.
Yeah, so the tennis courts are different with the sports uses. The playgrounds, it's a max of $10,000.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I thought we could apply, your 10,000 would be good, but
yeah.
I thought we could apply for more.
It's specific now to sports activities.
Well, the little kids have to have sports. I mean, come on,
Right.
let's be creative
Right.
here.
It's a lot less for the actual playground type uses.
But they also have a playground. So you're talking about the playground grant, right? Because they have a playground grant.
Yep. For
Okay.
Hennepin County, you talking about Hennepin County?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's a
the
maximum of 10?
10. Yep.
I have to talk to our
How
They
much
get
are
more
giving
money
for the
for
sport
like
courts?
exercise type stuff that's out there now. I mean, that's part of a new part of the grant in there for that type stuff. But yeah, I mean, for playground, there's not much. If you're really interested in doing that, I mean, I know Minnesota, Wisconsin Playgrounds does it, and I believe St. Croix Recreation is due. At the end of the year, they liquidate their stock. I mean, they get a pretty steep discounts on playground equipment that they have in stock they want to get rid of at a discounted price. You need to buy it, say if you're going to put it next year, you need to buy it by the end of this year, but you could look at something like that next year too. If you're going to do a project in 2025,
Right.
see what they have available, in 2024 at the end, say, hey, what do you guys have available, what's the discount and that type of stuff, and plan that way,
Well, let's put that in 2024 and start at least planning for it in 2024. And then, I don't know what the timing is for the grants. Do you know, David? Is it fall?
Yeah. Well.
I'm not sure. But I think we should at least apply.
So Lyle Park you want for
Yeah.
2024?
Right.
I have a question on that. So there's $400,000 allocated for the playground. What kind of playground are we putting in for $400,000?
It's a big playground. It's a big area. Yeah.
Well, they were talking too, wasn't it? Isn't all part of that whole big concept plan for the playground, the swing area? Weren't
Yep.
they talking at one time?
Yep. It's it'll be one of our, I mean, like in comparison to Jean Lanier, it's, more than double the size of that. So it's a significant size of equipment. It's more of, it's not your pocket park, neighborhood park. This is more of a, the Hunter's Crest neighborhood, regional type facility, if you will. So, I mean, the equipment there's quite a bit of it, quite large, quite spread out, different features that would be,
And
that's what
really-
the concept calls for there.
So besides the playground equipment, what else?
Well, the overall concept plan calls for a multi-sport court
So there
there.
would be something we could apply a grant for then, the sport courts.
Well, and now, but you're talking big dollars. With a multi-purpose sport court, you need a facility to house for a warming house, bathrooms, those sorts of things that would need to be built as well. And then also you need equipment to maintain and do all of that.
You're talking about an ice.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
The multi-purpose sport court.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that
which
what
would be a
that-
rink, and then it would be in the summer you
In the
turn into
summer,
a
yep.
skateboard park or
Yep.
something like that. It'd be a concrete or paved surface type deal, with boards and stuff. And then
Right. You're it's not any. I mean, you can look down into the Lyle Park. It might show some of that, but I mean, it's $1.5 to $2 million to finish Lyle the
Because
complete
of the
concept
building
plan.
that you need
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
bathrooms and.
And the multi-purpose sport court. That alone is $500,000 to do what you need to do there to put what you need to put there for the infrastructure that you need, the boards that go around it, the lights, all of that.
the drainage. And David's right. I mean, we don't have a truck to flood with. We don't have, scraping equipment for, and a broom for a tractor. I mean, all that stuff. And I mean, we don't have that. So you're talking another, easily 50 to 100,000 just in getting equipment, to be able to maintain these, So I mean, a lot of cities have water trucks and stuff like that. We don't have that. So,
See,
to
one
flood
of the
them and-
things, one of the thoughts was, I think it would be good to talk to the HOA board at Hunter's Crest to see if they would want to partner with us, because it's basically, I mean, to a great extent, it's serving Hunter's Crest, and it would be nice if they wanted to come up with a couple $100,000, in funds to help pay for something. I don't know. It just might be a thought.
The other thing you want to look at too, if you're going to do it, maybe make it an all-inclusive park. Like they did in Waconia. Eden Prairie just did one a couple years ago. Waconia just opened theirs up, where it's the handicap accessible. I mean, if you're going to throw a park out there, I mean that's the new way. And maybe there's money available for that. Where you
if
have
it's
the
handicap.
wheelchair accessibility all around, and stuff with the poured rubber protection. maybe that's something to look at too. I don't know. I mean, they're very expensive. I mean, Eden Prairies was, what was that? Do you know, David? It was like $3 or $4 million for theirs.
I'm not talking about
But
that.
but I mean, say, but Waconia's isn't that scale. But I mean, it was still expensive. But if you're going to throw something out there in a park, I mean, it's something to think about and consider. It'd be all inclusive. The way everything is. I mean, I had a niece that was in a wheelchair, for 42 years. I mean, when she was a kid, it would have been great. They didn't have that back then. So I mean, it is a great concept. Something that I'm just throwing it out there to something for you guys to chew on and think about. It's a lot more money, but then again, there might be some more grant money available for something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, how do we find out what other, I guess, recreational grants there are out there that we could apply for to do this park and do it well?
Well, yeah, I mean, we just talked about this earlier here, but just finished my 15th year here, and this same discussion's happened for 15 years. You can see, if you ask about the 50,000, I mean, there's got to be an other revenue source to do what needs to happen here in the future. And so I know Jasper and I've had this discussion. We'll have another strategic planning session here this winter about what does that mean? How does that look? Obviously we can't keep relying on this if you're going to do more things. And so you can look, we've looked at grants, we've applied for grants. They take time, they cost money. Sometimes they're not worth it. We've gotten grants for trails and trail connectors that it was endless paperwork with the DNR, and we all said never again. That was ridiculous for the amount of money you got. So, we can say all these things and look at all these things and spend time, but at the end of the day, there's still the problem of where's the money going to come from, or what are other ideas? How does that look?
Can we get sponsors from businesses? I mean, how does the city do that? Like, reach out to TRIA or Lifetime or anyone to get sponsorship to build.
Well, the park
green
he's
and
referencing
stuff.
at Eden Prairie, that's exactly what they did. They have memorial paver blocks that you have your name on there.
Right.
There's $5,000, there's $10,000, there's $50,000 and up that people donated money to that park, and they've got their name, their family name, and a paver there that significantly, says what they did. And so, absolutely, you can do that. Yep.
What does the council think of trying to make this a better park and sooner rather than in?
Right.
Whenever we find $1.5 million in the park fund.
Well, I think also, if I'm kind of reading between the lines here, as Peter is saying too, is, if we have the money now, it might be better to do it now versus 2 or 3 years from now, just because of costs.
Yeah.
Because costs keep going up. So that's one thing. So I think tonight, though, I think that's great. I mean, sponsorships, moving this up, starting to plan for it. I think, so tonight I think we just need to decide, do we want to move this up into 2024? And then we can decide. I would then say send it back to the Park Commission and have them mull over some ideas to bring back for us. But the sponsorship might be one. But how do you go about doing that? That would be something to find out. Here's a thing that kind of perplexes me all the time is, when I drive around the state, go to these different communities, we see these fabulous parks. I'm just like, how in the world does this tiny little 400 people community afford these parks?
Liquor stores.
We need a liquor store.
Let's be total wine in here.
No, we have to run our own liquor
We
store.
have to run
Municipal
our own
liquor.
liquor store.
That's
Yeah.
fine. We'll figure that out.
If I could add, I've handed out, this is related to water grants.
Right.
If we were to become serious about pursuing grants, I'd say we have to work with a group to develop a grant strategy for parks. Costs money. Same with these grants. I'd say the likelihood of getting them, not very high. We could get them. We've gotten them in the past. I think we have a good connection with Hennepin County to be able to get grants through them over time. I'd have to apply numerous times. The DNR grant, I do agree, very labor intensive, and actually the costs go up because of that. significantly. One, because of just the amount of paperwork and due diligence that's needed. And also it delays the project a lot of times from when you say you want to do it in 24, but it actually doesn't happen until 26. Well, then construction costs are now 30% more, and you got to keep going back to them. So I've had that happen. That's a pretty big challenge and hiccup. But once you're committed and you sign that grant agreement, like you're committed as a city. So if this is something you want to look at, in the short term, grants are great. But as David alluded to, you can kind of see we're going to run out of money here unless we get some park dedication funds. And if we start doing more active programming in our parks, like ice arena, ice rinks and things like that.
Then it adds to the annual.
Yep. And at that time, then we're going to have a conversation about likely using levy dollars. That's, I'd say, the most common way. Liquor stores also fund parks. We don't have that liberty. We don't have a municipal liquor store. So there's other funding sources, but ultimately I'd say by 2025 we should have a plan as far as how do we keep funding our parks. We do kind of through the levy right now. Some of Gary's people and the work that they do comes out of the levy. This is just capital projects. So looking at it and kind of creating like a park department, eventually we would have that. If we'd ever have ball fields and stuff like that, we'd have to maintain. Those are additional costs too. So it's trending toward the park dedication fund. Great, and we get those or the fees. But ultimately, in the next 5 to 10 year window, we're going to have to figure out a long term funding source, likely levy related. But in the short term, grants are great, sponsorships are great, but like the ongoing operations and maintenance we're going to have something kind of planned out.
As far as the trail paving goes, I don't know we could look at it, and I don't know how it works, but you could almost look at adding that into the road maintenance aspect of it, pay for that out of that, and bid, because that would be something that you would bid with that project as an alternate anyway. So maybe that's something to, consider in the future too. I don't know. It's alleviates a lot of money, and that's where you're going to have a lot of the dollar amounts here coming up. We have a lot of trail work that needs to get done. So maybe that's something that wants to be discussed, too, as we go and, hey, we're going to pull it out of this fund instead, But again, it's got to be paid somehow, and whether it's levy dollars through that or levy through the park fund or whatever. But I'm just saying, want to save this money for that and use it for the asphalt out of the road fund. It's an option, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, either way, our current CIP kind of projections as far as how much we need to contribute to it doesn't include trails, so we'd have to reevaluate that, likely increase that. It's a horse apiece if we create a new fund just for trails. It'd be up to the group, but ultimately we're going to come up to a point where this fund isn't going to have any money.
Right.
Very likely, unless there's some substantial developments that open up and large park development fees or park dedication fees that are added.
Okay.
Well, that
So-
brings up the point, if we move this up, is that going to use more time of your people, and then that's going to throw off our levy projection that you'll spend a lot more money?
What are you looking to move up? I can.
Well, we're talking about like on the
So-
Lyle Park.
On the Lyle Park, moving the $400,000 into 2024.
I think we'd still be fine there. We'd just be, instead of 650,000, we'd be more like at 250,000 roughly.
Right.
But so that, because didn't you
run out
just
of
say
money
that
in
some of the employee cost comes out of the general levy rather than?
Oh, to maintain the parks, we
Oh,
usually.
that way, I think that would be probably minimally impacted, like
Okay,
our
so it's
operations. Yeah,
just
the big
maintenance.
ticket is the capital cost of the actual playground itself.
Oh, okay.
Maintenance wise, I don't.
We
think
have
that-
park. We have mostly our seasonals and we have one full time employee that pretty much is during the summer doing the park stuff, remulching, taking care of that type of stuff. You will have a little bit more expense with if you do decide to put a hockey rink in there. But that does contribute, because then you'll have overtime because you'll need somebody. And it takes a lot of flooding to begin with, so there's a lot of nighttime work in that, and divvy that up between the guys, and to get that overtime. It takes quite a bit of time to do that. Every storm, after you're done, that's the way I've been at Chanhassen, when I was at Eden Prairie. Storm was done. Guess what you went and did? Hockey rinks.
Mm-hmm.
That's that was your other job before you left, because you had to get that snow off and get them cleaned up. And so you're talking some overtime, for that. It's not a great amount, but it is something to look at, So
I think that the ice rink, I mean, it would be great, but I think that's down the road, and that might have to be a referendum question, you know.
Well,
Do
what we
wanna-
keep as staff, I guess what our hope, and now with what's happening in Woodland Cove with the apartment building and the grocery store, we've seen some more traction with the Hunter's Pass property down on the other side of the trail, right by
Okay.
Hunter's
Yeah.
Crest. And so as was what staff has surmised is that when and if that happens, obviously all of the park dedication requirements for that development are going to be finish that park, finish Lyle Park,
Right.
build the multi-purpose court, get as much as we can out of them. Makes sense. It's right there, adjacent, have trail connectivity to it.
Right.
So that's what we've always had in the back of our mind. That we still are going to have a problem here with the money, but that's kind of the golden ticket, if you will, that we keep waiting for, looking for to finish out.
But
Lyle
their
Park.
park dedication fees aren't going to be $1 million, $2 million. I mean, $1 million.
Well, that's going to be a lot of units. Remember, it's based on density.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
value's gone up. I mean, it could be more than you think.
Okay.
And remember, we
But
can
then-
we
so
can
then-
always ask.
So then my question then still, yes, that's right. Demand. So then it still comes back to the thing, should we move this up to 2024 and at least start looking at it and planning for it? If not the rink or the, what did you call it, the sport court, at least the playground, I mean,
I would say move it up to 2025, so you have 2024 to get everything in place, because you're talking a pretty significant plan that you're going to have to draw up.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if you're talking the playground that was originally designed, I mean, I would say yes, you could move it up, but I would go to 2025, do your planning work in 2024, get everything ready out the door to go get it bid and get it set up, because I mean it's quite the design it's going to be, if I remember right.
yeah.
And
Okay.
there's quite a bit of work up there, so to try to squeeze that in and try to get that done before construction can start here, and and then you run into the quote unquote unforeseen incidents with watershed or something, and delay you 4 weeks and get right behind it. So my thing would be, if you want to do 2025, let's pursue this in 2024. David, I, and Nick can kind of talk. We can start looking at what working with WSB, what start designing, look what
And the
they
park
had, get some
commission.
plans to you
Yeah.
guys to see what you guys want to incorporate out there, and stuff like that. So.
All right.
There is probably one other unlikely source of revenue that we could better pursue, but I don't know
What's
what
that?
the chance. We might be running low on cash, but we're rich in land. We have lots of land around City Hall here, so I know there's and I know that's planned for a community park down the road, but yeah, so there is that. We do have some assets in the south or whatever. So,
We're planning another park.
well, I think a long time down the road, isn't this supposed to be a community park or whatever?
There's a master plan.
It's a big campus plan for here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's move this into 2025. And then my only other question, and maybe you guys have some more, but what is the $10,000 for miscellaneous for? What are we looking at, for instance? It just says miscellaneous.
I think it's just to cover some other, like if there's some little trail thing. I mean, if there's some different things that might come up during the year or whatever, isn't it Gary usually? Or
I'm going to pull up the actual CIP so I can see it here. Hang on.
It's on page 3.
Well,
Yeah.
It's like last year there was 31 spent on miscellaneous.
I think some of that had to do with some of the different improvements related to, and sometimes it has to do with even like with the road projects, if there is some like we talked about earlier, some trail work or some different things. So I think that's
Could it be
usually gonna-
engineering too?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, some of the
for
engineering.
instance,
Yeah, no, I think
with the park, with the Jean Lanier Park, maybe there was some engineering. I don't know.
Yeah, there's usually some of that
Okay.
type of cost too, but yeah, it's sort of more of it's almost sort of how the 50,000 is a placeholder for the park dedication, the 10 sort of.
So we don't necessarily have to spend it. It's just there as a placeholder in case we need it for
Correct.
something. Okay.
Yeah.
What's
Right.
the 14 for Game Farm Road?
That was for the
Trail.
along with
Bond
sort of along-
payment.
Yeah,
So it's bond payment. So when we took out the bond for the Game Farm Road, then we pay a portion of that bond out of our
Parks.
Parks Fund because we had to purchase property and make some minor improvements in order to call it a trail.
Yeah.
So, okay. Other questions? So we're good with the moving the 400,000 into 25, and we'll start planning for it, at least looking at that in 24. All right. All right. Anything? So now we'll move on to the rain barrel discussion.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of council, I can talk about this. We obviously had a group from Harrison's Bay Association come in and talk about this and this program, how they've implemented it in Mound. Mound, I think, contributes $20 per rain barrel. That's kind of what the ask is. It's an option that we have here. The other thing that Mound had was their engineer group, which I haven't had a chance to talk to our engineer group about contributing $10 per barrel. So in Mound, there's a $30 subsidy per rain barrel. I don't know if everybody has it, but I got an email late this afternoon about what the rain barrel looks like, because there's a whole bunch of different options. Even on their website, I think there's 3 different pictures of different rain barrels. One looks, a lot nicer than the others. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what it was. I think either way, the program, for the right person, people are going to get involved regardless of what the rain barrel. If they want a nice rain barrel, they can go, buy one somewhere else if that's what they want. So, what we're looking for, they need to know by December. So essentially, we have to kind of decide tonight if we want to participate, and if we do, at what level and at what cap, if we want to say. So for the example I gave was we could do $20 per rain barrel, not to exceed $2,000. So that's kind of the direction that we're looking for. I think the recommendation is to use it in our environmental fund or have it come out of there. So, and what they would do is, I think in March they would have the sale, and then we would likely have to house the rain barrels from the time where they're delivered until the people pick them up, which is maybe a week, I would think, and then help with unloading and stuff like that, which I would nominate Gary and his crew to do.
Thanks.
Unless, Allie and I could do it too, I guess, if we really wanted. But so that's kind of what we're looking for. Is just I need direction from this group to get back to the Harrison Bay Association folks to see if we want to participate and at what level. Okay. And if the direction's given to me, I can see about hitting up WSB and maybe AE2S to see if they would be willing to contribute as well. I can't guarantee anything, but maybe we can pit them against each other and they each throw $10 in or something. I don't know, but I can have that conversation.
My question is, do they take orders for the rain barrels, and then they only order the amount that they have the orders for? Because I would hate to say we're going to buy 100 rain barrels and then only 50 Minnetrista residents buy them, and then we have 50 rain barrels sitting around that we really don't have space for. That's the only thing.
Yes, so I confirm that. I just got this email. It says that goes on sale March 1st.
Okay.
So depending on what people do, that's when they order it. So they don't order too many rain barrels. So every rain barrel that gets delivered will be ordered. Mm-hmm. Now we'd have to cap it and say we're not going to, if we sell 500 rain barrels in Minnetrista, we're obviously going to cap it at that, whatever you tell us.
Okay.
So, but there isn't going to be a surplus, or we're not going to have rain barrels sitting there for.
Okay.
Well, her email said they'd order 144, so I would assume they'd split that evenly between Mound and Minnetrista residents.
Oh, is that right?
The email that was attached,
The first one or the
one from the October 12th. That's in the package.
Oh yeah, okay, that one. Okay.
Well, I thought that was last year that they
Well, it
last
says if the
year.
city of Minnetrista would like to
Yeah.
participate,
She did.
HBA will increase our order to 144 rain barrels.
Okay.
Which needs to be committed in
Oh, yeah,
December
yeah.
2023.
So I could confirm some of those details. I guess it's unclear to me how many they're going to actually order. It'd be nice if they ordered not too many or not too little. So maybe they think that's good. But at the end of the day, we don't want to store these things for an extended period of time either.
Yeah, it's a little unclear because are they ordering 144 just for Minnetrista? Or?
No, well, last
Yeah, that
year they
sounded-
ordered 72, and they sold 72. So I'm
Okay.
assuming they figure we'll get the same 72 for Mound and then 72 for Minnetrista.
Minnetrista. Okay.
I don't know anything about rain barrels. Do these go bad? I mean, do people buy another one, or is it just a one and done purchase more than likely?
No, but you could buy multiple ones. So if you have, let's say,
Right.
2 downspouts, you could buy another one
Yeah.
in 23 if you bought one last year. I'm assuming they have 1 rain barrel per customer is what I'm assuming per year.
I think we could determine that. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they're plastics. They last a long time. The fittings might be metal, but you'd replace that. They do go bad if you don't drain them. You know, they can get algae and whatnot growing in them. Leaves, if leaves get in them and you don't clean them out, that can be problematic. So
I'm sure they'll have some kind of instructions on how to
Yeah.
maintain them or
Yeah.
whatever.
So I would assume, I mean, if that's in October, they said 72. So if we do $20 per 70 or for 72, what is that? 1440.
I like the idea from the standpoint of the water quality,
Right.
that's appealing, and then it also kind of works into trying to at least save a little money on people watering their plants and all. But I wonder if, $20, on a roughly $100 purchase, I don't know if that would make or break, somebody buying it. How much does that really help for us to subsidize it? Would they just buy it if we said, hey, we've got this community thing going, do your part, this helps, water quality, saving water. and so
That's a
on.
good point. That's a very good point.
Let me ask you something. At what point do you think people would say, "Oh, yeah, that's a great deal"? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Would it be $50 or would it be $30 or?
I think people that want rain barrels are going to buy them no matter what.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, I think you're right.
Yeah, it might just push somebody over the edge and say, oh, for me it would. I'd probably go, oh, okay, I'll get one, whereas I haven't, on my own. So
Well, I don't think if we don't participate, I don't think that
they won't.
they're not going to order them.
No,
See,
that's true.
see, that's I think the idea is to give them some incentive plus be part of the promo.
Right.
Is
yeah,
I think is what they're doing. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think we should do it.
I don't think I'd have a problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So $20 capped at the 72 that they're recommending,
That they're
and we'll go from there and
recommending,
see what happens this year. And we'll get. I'm sure they'll come back and present, or we can get numbers after
Sure.
the sale. So
Okay.
we'll let them know.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Oh, we kind of skipped over the budget part. I mean, is that it was 3,000 for the tree budget?
Oh, the trees,
I mean,
yeah, we sort of.
I mean, is
I
there a
think,
lot
yeah.
of discussion on that?
I asked Gary, and he said there shouldn't be any major endeavors on the tree fund. I mean, obviously, it's more if I don't know you have any type of something that comes up that we just don't know about right now or something.
Well,
but-
we'll take the 1,440 whatever out of there too.
Yeah.
So it'll go from 3,000 to 4,400 or
400,
whatever.
but we do
Yeah.
have, you can see there about 350,000 in the fund or
Yeah,
whatever. So.
I think we're pretty good there.
I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
Calendar. Who
I'm
wants to-
doing this one.
All right.
So at the end of each year, the City Council approves the next year's calendar. In your packet was the proposed 2024 calendar, and we also sent it out a few weeks ago for you as well. Just a few items to note. As directed in 2023, all meetings that fall on a Monday holiday have been moved to the Wednesday. In 2024, there are 3 scheduled elections, so we're proposing 1 meeting in March and November to not interfere with those elections. And then in past practice, the council only has 1 meeting in July and December, so we continued that in 2024. And then Trista Day has been scheduled for May 18th, 2024 this year. So we're just looking at direction on if you guys have any feedback, changes, and then we'll bring it back for consent. Yes, ma'am.
So, question. What about the holiday event? And by the way, we got
I
another
would love to
$1,200.
see the success or failure of this event before.
Okay,
committing
should we
that.
wait until?
That would be, I guess, I don't know. I'm not sure if we want to just see how this one goes, if we want to commit to this being an annual
Well, we're going to
event.
bring this back December 4th too.
Correct.
So we could
Yeah.
then decide later after the event.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that too.
Yeah, I think if we were to schedule it on the same, we'd have to either pick December 5th of 2024, or if we wanted to do the week before Thanksgiving, it'd be the 21st.
And we don't have all of the events on there, so we'll still do the city bus tour, the state of the city. Those
Right.
just kind of we schedule as the year goes. So
Okay.
it could be an event like that too, where it's not scheduled the whole year prior.
All right.
But yeah, so I'm just looking if you have any changes. Otherwise, we shall throw it on consent.
fine.
That's fine.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And anything else? Should. Okay, because we could sit here then. Okay, no. So if that concludes our work session, so we can be adjourned if there is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Thank you.